So my experience of being a young LGBT plus person is one that has been filled with a lot of ups and downs emotionally. You know, I came out when I was about 15 years old, but when I turned 18, I was prolifically out on the scene in Cardiff, and I made friends for life there, and you know, just kind of got into kind of the community spirit of being a young gay guy was like, I guess, in Cardiff, you know, going to Pulse, going to King's, etc. You know, I went to university in Bristol, and that opened my eyes even more. I met a collective, an events company called Bitch Please, and you know, I was kind of pulled into, you know, another life of queer performances, queer performance art, you know, DJs, queer DJs, trans DJs, drag queens, you name it. And that was, you know, a massive part of my life, and kind of made me friends for life as well. And you know, I'm so grateful to, you know, that scene and the nightlife scene, and it holds a special place in my heart, because you know, our community, or the gay community especially, was kind of built on, you know, nightlife to survive and connect with each other. So yeah, that's kind of a huge part of my life. Another big part would be, you know, learning from kind of elders in the community, you know, hearing their stories, hearing what they've been through, and really, you know, learning and being open about what's actually happened, and not being ignorant to the fact that, you know, a lot of people sacrificed a lot to, you know, to get where we are today. But saying that, there is a lot more to do, and you know, I think as a young queer person, if you're able to, you should always be, you know, forward thinking to the development of our community's needs, and making sure that, you know, we don't rest until equality is kind of achieved for all of us, especially our trans brothers and sisters who are kind of going through it at the moment, being hyper publicized in the media incorrectly, kind of alienating them from kind of being abnormal and, you know, not even human in some respects. But yeah, there's kind of like, I've always said this, growing up LGBT plus, especially in this day and age, as the human race kind of adapts and becomes, you know, more intelligent as a species, so does the discrimination that we face. I think when the gay liberation movement happened, you know, 50 years ago, half a century ago, it was very overt discrimination. It was very much like in your face, physical, you know, that was the way people kind of discriminated against you. But now we have laws in place that protect us physically, or at least they're meant to. And because of that, you know, we are in a world where covert discrimination is kind of ramped up and happens kind of below the belt, and you know, people don't really kind of clock onto that. And I think as a young LGBT person growing up with that in mind, you know, we are kind of on red alert. It's kind of like making sure that you kind of see the telltale signs of kind of like dangerous places, or like dangerous predicaments you could be in, which is kind of sad. But I think as a young LGBT person, especially in this climate with the, you know, the whole Black Lives Matter movement, and you know, the kind of the struggle and the discrimination is kind of like a similar resonating kind of theme that LGBT people have probably faced in their life. You know, the discrimination, obviously it's on another level. Like I'm not black, and you know, I haven't kind of felt the discrimination from the color of my skin, but certainly just being discriminated against for kind of who you are is something that I have been a victim of. And you know, we have a long way to go. I think being young and LGBT plus is kind of a gift. We're a part of a community that's really, really creative, but also extremely supportive. And, you know, sometimes we take that for granted. And I think we need to always look forward, always back each other up. And, you know, we're really lucky to have a community, at least here in Cardiff, and at least that I'm a part of, that is really, really supportive and has, you know, the opportunity to kind of make sure you feel comfortable at all times, especially now in the pandemic. You know, building those friends up and kind of reaching out to them to see how they are, or them reaching out to you, has been a massive, massive help for me personally.